All right. Mike here, on the road. It's kind of a fall, rainy, typical northern Michigan fall day. Driving down the road, heading to Menards for about the 15th time in the last couple of weeks while I'm working on the Lake Ann house, getting it ready for the new renter, hopefully this weekend. It's Friday, what is it, the 30th, Friday, September 30th, 2011. And I haven't done an update in a while, so I figured I would take a little time since I've got a little road time here to update and all that good stuff. I've been kind of on a podcasting hiatus when it comes to my other shows. Aviation History This Week, Geek of the North, because I've been working also on getting my studio put together, which should be done if all goes as planned, should be done by next week sometime, and I'll be able to start producing shows out of the new studio setup. Excuse the background noise if you can hear any. I don't know. I'm using the dynamic microphone with the Roland recorder. Just for you gearheads out there that want to know what setup I'm using here mobile. So I look a little weird. I'm talking into a microphone that doesn't look like I'm talking on a cell phone. Luckily, out here on the highway where it's not so many people looking, but it's kind of weird when you do this where people can see you, but I don't care what they think. But anyway, yeah, I've been doing that, but I have been doing podcasting activity. Been doing interviews for the new Retro Tech podcast. I've got 3 in the can, got 2 or 3 more scheduled here next week at different times with different people. Got some really good ones. Got Dr. Bill, the computer curmudgeon. He's going to be on the first episode. So when I put it out to the Tech Podcast Network guys that I needed people for interviews, he was the first one to email me back, so he gets the honors of going first on the podcast. I got Steve Lee from Waves of Tech and the Netcast Studio Network coming up as the second episode. In the third episode, I'm going to leave a little teaser. A best-selling author, a TV personality, and a darn good guy, and one of the pioneers of podcasting. So we'll let you figure out who that is. Hint, he'll probably be on every episode in one form or another. But anyway, that'll come up in the third episode of Retro Tech. And I've got a whole bunch of other tech luminaries, regular guys and gals lined up, and some famous, some not so famous, some podcasters, some bloggers. I don't know. I've got all kinds of tech geeks and even some non-tech geeks coming in for that, and it should be a good show. I'm really excited about it. It's one of those things you get, with these podcasts, sometimes you get into this rut where, I got to do a podcast, and it seems like drudgery. So if your subject isn't something that you're completely passionate about, sometimes it's hard to do. And I think I'm sure I won't have a problem with this. I love talking about, the old days of tech. I'm not that old of a guy, but, I remember some things that, probably most other people wouldn't remember, even of my age, and definitely somebody less than my age. All right, and it's no secret. I'm 45, almost 46 years old, born in 1966, so that gives you any frame of reference. But, some of the guys I'm going to be talking to are older than I am. Some of them are going to be younger than I am. And like I said, it's turning out pretty neat. I'm going to have the traditional first questions. just so we get a sort of a baseline. And it's kind of neat. In the first 3 episodes, when I asked each of them, what was your first computer? 2 of the 3 had the exact same thing, and it was really an obscure computer. So I don't think it's likely that I'll get too many more people that had that same computer. So that was kind of cool. Some of the people I got a lot in common with, and some I won't. And that's all good. That's what it's all about. So hey, and if you would like to be a guest on Retro Tech to talk about some of the early technology that you remember, if you're only 20 something and you grew up with the internet and all that, that'd be fun to talk about. If you're in a particular niche in the hobby or business of technology, and this goes for automotive, aviation, not just electronic gizmos and computers. In fact, Steve Lee and I spent a great deal of time talking about aviation and automobiles, and that was very cool. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to this. And if you want to get subscribed, the first little intro episode is out. It's just a little announcement episode to get the feed going, and it is in iTunes. So just go over to retrotechpodcast.com or retrotech.tv. Also points there, because they do plan on doing some video, but not in the podcast feed. I'm just going to do YouTube type videos for the video portion of this. But that's why I got the retrotech.tv domain also, and I'll have a YouTube channel and all that. I never really got seriously into YouTube channels, but figured better late than never. So anyway, enough self-promotion there. I'll tell you what's been going on since the last time I podcast. I think this is going to be 184 of Mike Dell's World. Now that I think of it, of course I'll put in the intro and all that stuff in post. I'm kicking it a little old school with the Retro Tech and this one. Sometimes they do it live to the hard drive, as they used to say back in 2005. And sometimes they do it in bits and pieces and glue it all together at the end. So this will be one of those where I glue it all together at the end. I was just listening to Podcast Answer Man, Cliff Ravenscraft, and that's what inspired me to pick up the microphone here today, because he was doing that with his Roland recorder and other recorders. He's doing a whole episode using nothing more than a digital audio recorder, or several different ones, I think. Like I said, I stopped the podcast and grabbed the microphone. So, hey, we're going to listen to a tune here. Why not? That's kind of the tradition around here. So I don't know what the tune is just yet. That'll be in the show notes over at MikeDell.com. I'm pulling into Menards here. I'm going to go in and get the hopefully last parts I need to complete the Lake Ann House project, and then I'm going to head back over there and install said parts and make sure everything's working correctly, and then all that good stuff. So when I come back, I'll tell you what else has been going on in the last, I don't know, what has it been, 3 weeks since the last one? Anyway, be right back after this song.
Of blood plays a lonely rhythm on a lonely drum. It lights signal fires, it does a tribal dance. Sees a wave of opportunity, says this is our only chance. Love comes like a tidal wave, comes like the driving rain, like an unexpected guest, like a message on the wind. Love comes
not sponsoring the show. Just happened to be the closest big box store of that sort to the Lake Ann house. Actually officially in the village of Gran, Michigan, which locally here has kind of a interesting reputation, but it's kind of a growing little burg out southwest of town, and it's between Traverse City and Honor, Michigan, and Lake Ann is just sort of in there too. Anyway, what's been going on for the last 3 weeks? I'm still working on my business stuff. Got a few clients that I've been doing quite a bit of work for here lately, and that's good. So it's been keeping me on my toes, and keeping a little money flowing into the business, which is good. Still not ramped up completely. Once I get the studio done and this Lake Ann house rented off and all that, it should be a lot better. I've spent quite a bit of time working on this house. I redid the bathroom completely, pretty much gutted it, and tiled the floor, put new commode and new sink and vanity, and then the last pieces here, I'm actually waiting for parts for the shower. Somebody decided to use the wrong chemical on the shower fixtures and took all the chrome polish, or all the chrome plating off of it, and it looks really, really bad. And they all still worked, so I guess this weekend, if I don't hear from the guy today about the parts, I'll put it back together using the cruddy parts, and then once I get the new parts, I'll come out and change it once the new renter is in. I do have the place officially rented. We haven't signed the lease yet, but we'll do that on Sunday, I think. So he can get moved in or start moving in. He's got 30 days to get out of his other house, and that'll work. So he'll have time to do a slow move, which will be good for him. Sounds like a nice guy. He's another fellow geek. So he moved up here about a year ago from downstate, down in the Detroit area. So got a job up here with one of the local nonprofits, and he's an IT guy, and so it's a stable deal. And anyway, he needs to rent a place for a year and a half while he builds a house up here. And once he builds a house, the rest of his family will move up. Otherwise, he commutes back and forth on the weekends. So sounds like a good deal. Sounds like a good guy, and hopefully the economy will change enough to where I can sell it when he moves out. And sounds like a good deal all the way around. So I've been consumed with a little bit of that, and a little bit of getting rid of stuff in the basement to build out the new studio. Like I said, not really much building going on, just mainly moving stuff around and putting up a green screen and a permanent spot for the video portion of shows. I think you'll like it. I'm going to do the basement where my studio is, the ceilings are kind of low. As you know, I live in a 1940s vintage log cabin, and they put what was called a Michigan basement underneath it, and then later on dug it out even more and finished it off properly. But in the process of that, of course, they didn't raise the house up or dig down deeper, so the ceilings down there are about 6.5 feet, which works out okay because I'm 6 foot, so I don't bump my head too much. There's one plumbing fixture in the laundry room that sticks down to where I bump my head on it if I don't pay attention. But where the studio is, it's 6.5 foot ceilings, so it's not tall enough for me to stand in front of a green screen. But it is okay if I put a bar stool there. So I'm going to be doing my green screen work sitting on a bar stool. And then I'll have a little cocktail table or whatever there with a laptop on it if I need a computer for whatever show I'm doing, or YouTube video or whatever. But I get to play around with the green screen stuff, doing the virtual studio, or, have a virtual background of some sort behind me. So that should be somewhat more interesting than me talking into a microphone. Essentially I will be just talking into a microphone, but I might, be able to drop in pictures of what I'm talking about, or have interesting backgrounds, and, because as much as I don't like the idea, video is the new thing in new media, and so I figured I'd better get on the bandwagon with it. Of course, this show will always be audio. There is a video feed, which I haven't really been putting much stuff in lately, but I will. Like I said, once I get the green screen, I can do all kinds of crazy stuff, and I want to get good at that. I've got all the software and computer equipment to do some pretty amazing stuff, and all I need to do is gain the knowledge. So maybe the Mike Dell video feed will be where I get to experiment with that, along with YouTube. And I do have a YouTube channel that I will post everything to also. Figure, as easy as it is to get YouTube on just about any device, that's probably a good bet. And of course the video podcast feed, it's getting easier. Just wrote an article for Geek News Central. Not much of an article, but talk about the new Kindles that came out, and the new Kindle tablet, which is quite interesting. They have the regular Kindles, and the regular Kindle now, I guess you could call it the Kindle 4, but the base model Kindle doesn't have a keyboard anymore, which is fine. I never used the keyboard on mine anyway, my Kindle 3. So that's the base model, and it's only $79. That's a hell of a deal for such a useful device if you're a reader. And I get a lot of use out of mine. And plus it's cool, I can put it on my iPhone, not iPhone, I don't have an iPhone. I put it on my Android phone or my iPod Touch. That's something new too. I got an iPod Touch. I was going to go for the iPhone, and I don't know, I do know my the hard drive on my 30 gig iPod Video, which is 7 years old, finally started screwing up to the point where it wasn't reliable. When I was listening to a podcast, it would just lock up, and then if I didn't get it rebooted really quick, it would suck all the battery down real quick. So I don't know what's going on with that. So that presented itself. I thought, well, geez, I do need an iOS device. I could have bought another iPod Classic. That would have been just fine. But I thought, well, what the heck, I'll kill two birds with one stone. So I got a 32 gig iPod Touch. And so far I like it. The same complaint I have with listening to podcasts on my phone, my Droid phone, is, it's three or four steps to mute or pause a podcast. Like if it's plugged into the car or whatever. And the other thing is, it's just another glass device. You gotta, get a cover for it and all that, and so you gotta be careful. But so far, I like it, and I've been playing around with some of the apps. I've bought a few apps and downloaded some free ones. Pretty much all the same ones I got on the Droid phone. Really not a lot of difference. It is a little to get used to. The display is awesome. I have to give it that. That Retina display is pretty awesome. The camera on it, it's okay. I've been using it a bit, for this or that, but it's not like drop dead gorgeous, video or still shots, but not bad for an iPod. I think when I upgrade my Droid phone, hopefully I'll have a better camera on that, because that was one thing with the original Droid. The the camera wasn't actually very well done. I think it might be more software, though. I don't know. But we'll see. Sorry, I had to avoid a thing in the road here. So anyway, my plan today is to get out to Lake Ann, back out to the house in Lake Ann in about 4 or 5 miles. Install the new thermostat, install the transition strip between the tile and the carpet in the bathroom door, and call it a day out there. Head into town and get something to eat. I guess would probably be on the list. And I got some YouTube video production to do for one of my clients, and then hopefully glue together the intro and outro for Retro Tech, and maybe even edit down one episode. Get that set to release. I'm trying to decide on a release day. I want to, keep it as consistent as I can. Probably weekly. It'll either be weekly or every other week. Depends on how easy it is to get the interviews done up. I think for the 4th episode, I'm going to interview myself. Or what I'll do is I'll interview myself, save that for a week that I don't have anybody else. So that'll be kind of fun. So we'll see. But that should drop sometime next week. I'm kind of leaning towards Thursday. We'll do a Thursday morning release on that. Because Geek of the North will be releasing on Tuesday afternoons. And This Week in Aviation History, or Aviation History This Week. Man, I never can get that name right first time. That always drops on Sunday night, Monday morning. Or, Monday sometime anyway. And that'll be a good schedule to hold to. And then these just drop whenever they drop. Don't really want to get this one on a schedule because sometimes I feel like doing 3 a week, and sometimes I don't do 3 in a month. Sometimes I don't do 2 in a month. It just depends on what's going on. The other major thing to me, anyway, I like to talk about cars and such, is last Saturday morning I got rear-ended at a stoplight fairly hard in my Toyota Solera. That's the car I bought last winter. And the insurance company still hasn't told me whether they're going to total it or not, but it's getting close. Car blue books for around $5,000, and the estimate I got was $4,400 to fix it. So I don't know, it's close. They supposedly sent an adjuster out yesterday to do it, to look at it, and even though the body shop already, things falling down going around a corner here, but even though I've got the estimate from the body shop already, they've done that. So I got a rental car. I'm not in a rental car now. I'm in my old Ford F-150 that we used for utility purposes, which today is one of those days I'm hauling junk from the house, from the project, and whatnot. So I had to bring the truck. The rental car they give me was pretty cool. It's a Nissan Rogue, a little SUV thing. But 2011, nice car. But I won't have that too awful long, hopefully. Unless they do fix the car, because I imagine it'll take a little while to gather all the parts and then put the thing together and paint it. But I hope they decide here pretty soon, and I'm going to have to start car hunting if not. And I'm thinking this time maybe I'll find something with a stick shift. I haven't had a stick shift vehicle in 4 or 5 years, and that's all I would have. But they're getting a little harder to find unless you get them used, and I plan on getting used. I haven't bought a new car in a long time. Kind of enjoy the fact of not having car payments, so that sort of precludes me from draining the bank account and buying something new. Besides that, they depreciate so much. You can get an awful lot of car for between $5,000 and $10,000. That's not too old. But I don't even care about old. Like I said, the Solera I bought was a 2000, so I'll likely search in that ballpark. Yeah, because don't really need anything too new, and a car like that with a little maintenance can be just as reliable, or just about as reliable. So I think that's what I'll do if I have to. But if not, hopefully they'll just fix it, and I'll just drive a rental car until they do, and then go back to life as I know it, and at least vehicular-wise. The other vehicle I've been playing with is that moped. I think I told you about that, a little Honda Express. It's getting kind of cold now to be messing with that, and it's still got a carburetor issue. I think I'm just going to bite the bullet and order the new intake and carburetor from Goodie, and maybe get the 70cc kit for it. And if I'm going to make it go, I might as well make it go. And that'll be fun. Got to do the brakes on that too. The brakes aren't all that strong, and I guess if the thing's going to go 30 miles an hour, I might as well have decent brakes. But that can wait till next spring before I get too crazy with that. What else interesting is going on? Not a whole lot. Just, like I said, other than the podcast being on hiatus and the new one coming out soon. Just definitely. And hey, I got a customer service rant that I'm going to go on to here after this next song. Yes, I've arrived back at the Lake Ann house, so I will go install my pieces, parts, and load the truck up, and I'll get back right after this song. I know, it's amazing. It's only going to take me about 3.5 minutes, to link to this song to do all this work out here. That's the theory. So, I don't know what I'm going to play, but take a listen to this and see on the other side. All right, I'm back. Got the thermostat installed. Got just about ready to go. And just in time for it to start raining on my trip back to town. Oh well. So anyway, I started telling you about a rant. Or I told you about a rant before the song there that I need to go on. And I'm not the king of rant, but you know, when I sometimes have a rant or two. But customer service. And I've been, well, let me back up. I'll admit to something. I have been going through drive-throus at restaurants a lot. Well, fast food, you know, a lot here in the last couple months. You know, being just to get away from the house, I guess, you know. But I go through the drive-thru, and then I sit in the car and listen to podcasts while I eat and all that stuff, you know. And I shouldn't, and I'm gonna cut back on that because no sense warming up the car in the wintertime just to go to drive to McDonald's or something. So, but the customer service at these places is getting worse. And I understand, you know, that's everybody's first job. You know, everybody that's working there, not everybody, but most people that are working at those places, it's their first job, and you know, it's a good job to have, and you know, don't fault them for that at all. The problem is the customer service end of it. A lot of them seem like they just don't want to be there, which, you know, that happens everywhere, I guess. You know, it happened to me when I was working at where I was working, you know. I got to the point where I just didn't want to be there anymore. And so, you know, your attitude does suffer in a like that, you know. But what I'm talking about specifically is the people on the headphones, okay? You pull up to the little thing. And first off, now they've got the stupid tape recording. So as soon as you pull up, it goes, we're featuring our blah, 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 blah. Would you like to order that? Place your order when ready. Okay, well, then you start talking. And whoever's on the headset wasn't ready to take your order, but the recording said they were. So then you end up repeating it again. Now, most people that frequent fast food places know exactly what they want and how they want it. And you know, so here I am, I want a number one meal. It's a Big Mac meal. I want a number one meal. What do we want to drink to that? What do you want to drink? You know, they cut you right off. Or, you know, I want a chicken McNuggets. What kind of sauce do you want with that? They won't let you finish the order. And I've taken to, you know, I'm starting to get mean with them a little bit. You know, mean, not really, but you know, I say, excuse me, if you would let me finish my order, you wouldn't have to ask all these questions. And I say that, you know, pretty much every time now, because they want to know, is that cash or credit? That gonna be that, you know, and they just butt right in the middle of your, you know, what you want, you know. And what is it, you know, with a meal? I want the regular number one meal. What size do you want? So the regular size. Whatever it says on the board. If it says $5.40 for this meal, I want the $5.40 one. You know, just you know, I know what it is they've got those I don't know what you call them, cash registers or point of sale systems or whatever, where they push a button, they have to push them all in a certain order. I get it. You know, why they want you to, you know, say things in order. But then again, if they can't remember a sentence, you know, I want a number one meal with a medium Diet Coke. You know, that's all they need. That's all they need. But they, you know, it seems like, you know, they get a kick out of asking you questions. It just drives me crazy. You know, like I said, I've been taken to saying, if you just let me finish my sentence, you wouldn't have to answer these questions. Or wouldn't have to ask these questions, and I wouldn't have to answer them. Because I would have answered them in the sentence that I was talking about when you so rudely interrupted me. So, I don't know. It must be fast food wide or whatever. But, hey, if you frequent those places and they butt in on you, say that. You know, say, if you'd let me finish my sentence, you wouldn't have to ask me these questions. And just keep saying that. Maybe somebody somewhere, some manager will hear that and get it through their head that a lot of people do know what they want. When they're done with their sentence, then ask the questions. Really, how hard can that be? And while I'm on the subject of customer service, of course, I've been working on this house, and part of it was I needed to get some new shower parts, for the little handle you turn on and off the shower, and the temperature control, and the little spout that sticks out when you fill the bathtub, and all that. The finish on it was screwed up. I think I said that before the song. But the thing is, I go to this established plumbing supply place in town that has been around for, since the 20s, I think it said on their sign. And, they're pretty good about finding everything and all that. But I called them up. Well, I didn't call him up. I came in there with a bag of parts. I said, I need all these parts. So he looks it up in the book. And, of course, the particular fixture that I have, we no longer carry those. We don't make, or they don't make those anymore. That was a silly design. And, sits there and tells me I'm stupid for owning one of those. Well, hey, it came with the house. And I just need the parts. I don't need your opinion about the fixtures or the company. So anyway, he looks in his book and he finds, all the parts. And, I'm going to have to search around for these. They won't be right around here, and blah, 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 tell how terrible he has his life because, I'm ordering parts for something that they don't handle anymore or they don't make anymore. So that's strike two. He says, well, give me your name and phone number. I'll call you back when when I've rounded up the parts. All right, cool. So that was Monday or Tuesday. Wednesday I called. I guess it was Monday. I called him on Wednesday, said, hey, I didn't hear back from you. What's going on? And he says, I'm still trying to find the parts. Like I was bugging him. Like it was my problem that he was having a busy day. All right. Well, if you say you're busy, you're busy. That's fine. I certainly get in that mode too, where I'm just busy. But to be gruff with somebody on the phone that's probably going to end up paying you over $100 for a bunch of parts, be a little nicer about it. So anyway, I didn't hear anything yesterday. I call today, and somebody else answers, and I ask about it. He says, well, that's so-and-so's deal, and he just went next door to the bank. Oh, no, there he goes. He comes in the door. And then he gets on the phone. He says, yeah, I've got them on order. They're not going to be here probably till next week sometime. Just like I should know to not bother him. And he never did once give me a price. So this ought to be interesting. Hopefully it doesn't cost more than buying a whole new setup. The only problem with the whole new setup is I'd have to cut a hole in the wall behind the shower to replace the whole valve, and I don't want to do that. So anyway, customer service. Oh yeah, and the rental car place, the insurance company for my car wreck. Call down there, and of course I get the ubiquitous voicemail system. And everybody deals with the voicemail system. But what in the hell is it about? They always answer, "Hello, this is so-and-so company. Please listen carefully, because our options have changed." Okay, well, I'm calling an insurance company. I don't call the insurance company every day. I don't plan on calling the insurance company every day or even every week, unless I got business with them, and shouldn't have to have business with them all that often. So, but every one of them, every company you call that has one of those stupid voicemail systems has this thing, our options have changed. Please listen carefully, blah, 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 And I'm like, come on. Why do I need to know that you changed your options? I'm going to listen to them because I don't remember that from time to time. And I'm not going to do it. And if I push the wrong button, guess what? I can hit 0 for menu or 0 for the operator or whatever and get somebody to tell me where to go. So I don't need your stupid voicemail system telling me where to go every time I call. And then on top of that, the adjuster, or not adjuster, I don't know what you call him, the claims guy down there. This is a insurance company down in southern Michigan. It's not one of the big national chains, but call down there. They must have 2 adjusters or 2 claims guys or something. But the one I got assigned to, he called me once after I put in the claim. He calls me and said, "Oh, call me back at blah, 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 extension, whatever." So, all right, after I listened to the lady tell me that their options have changed, then I, hear, if you know your party's extension, please type it in now or punch it in now. So I did. I get the guy's voicemail. "I'm not at my desk right now," or "I'm on the phone with another customer," blah, 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 blah. Same old thing everybody has on their thing. Well, it doesn't necessarily bother me, but, that does get a little old after you deal with the same thing. But anyway, I leave a voicemail. No call. For 2 days, no call. So I call back, get his voicemail again, and I noticed he said, "Well, push 0 if you need immediate attention." So I hit 0, and this other guy in the office always answers. And he answers. And I talk to him, get this done, get that done. And then I asked about a rental car. He said, "Well, you don't get a rental car until your car goes into the shop." I said, "Well, yeah, but I'm out of car right now, and my insurance says I get a rental car. My policy says I get a rental car." So anyway, he fiddle farts around and whatever. I'll call you back. No call. Next day, I call back down there, get the guy's voicemail, hit the 0, and some gal answers. And I said, "Hey, I called yesterday about a rental car. I'm sitting here. I don't have a car." Of course, they don't need to know that they do know I got a truck because it's on the same policy. But anyway, I said, I'm out my car. I need a car. And such, "Oh yeah, no problem. We'll do it." If they called and made the reservation or did it on the computer for a rent-a-car, and rent-a-car people call me, says, "Hey, where can we pick you up? Come get your rental car." So I mean, certain people, the customer service is not what it ought to be. I work for Raw Voice there as their tech support guy. It's not a full-time gig, but, I get emails, probably 3-4 a day that I answer, and I, scour the forums, and every once in a while we get a Twitter question or whatever, and, I don't have any set time. Our customer service policy, when you send an email to support at rawvoice.com or fill out the form on one of the websites, it'll auto respond back with, one of our staff will get with you within 24 hours. I always try to make it within 12, and when I say I'm going to email somebody back, I email somebody back. Thankfully we don't have to do phone support too often, and phone support pays better, by the way. But, when I say I'm going to do something, I either do it or I email and explain why I can't do it, or, if there's a delay or something. Same thing with my clients. I say I'm going to have something done on Friday. Well, by God, I'm going to get it done on Friday. Or tell them, "Hey, I ran into a little snag here," but I always, communicate. That's one of the keys of customer service, especially in a industry like insurance. Yeah, you deal with it every day if you're working in insurance, claims. You deal with that all the time. Understand that. But then there's the guy that's, sitting there without a car. Every, hour counts. Can't go for 2-3 days. And speaking of which, when I get home, that's one of the places I got to call again, find out what the heck happened with the adjuster and whether or not they're going to total the car. It's just, it's crazy. So I guess that's my rant, as much as I rant, but by golly, just if you're going to do something, say you're going to do something. If you take a job, even if it's at McDonald's, do it to the best of your ability. And if you can't do that, then you need to go find something else to do. I understand, like I said, that's an entry level, everybody's first job sort of thing, but there's still no reason to do it half-assed. And, it just burns my britches sometimes. And, and also just because your system requires it a certain way doesn't mean you have to make everybody else bend to it. But, unless it's a software product, and it works the way it works and that's how it works, of course, then, you can't change your software just to suit one person. But that's a whole nother story. So, hey, I'm just driving by my folks' place out here west of town. And it's kind of a rainy day. It's not raining on and off. Sun popped out for a little bit. Kind of gray, dreary in most cases. But the colors on the trees I'd say we're at 50% peak color. There's a lot of bright reds and oranges and yellows. But there's, for all the other colors, there's that much green left. Of course, the oak trees don't turn the same time as the maple trees or the ash trees or the elm trees or whatever, but of course we got a lot of evergreens around too. But yeah, it's still pretty. I guess I could just leave it at that. It's still pretty, but it's still really nice to look at, even through the rain a little bit. And ain't too bad. Actually, it's probably up to 60 today, so it ain't too bad. Tomorrow, I've got the section emergency test for the Michigan section of the American Radio Relay League's, what is that? Amateur Radio Emergency Service. That's my once a year thing where we go out and pretend we had a big snowstorm. If they just wait to do that a few months, we could do it on a real snowstorm. But anyway. That's what they're doing tomorrow. So tomorrow morning I get up early and go play radio for a little while. But that shouldn't be too terrible. And then I get to go back out to Lake Ann after the carpet dries and finish a good cleaning. And Sunday I think we'll get the renter out. And I keep repeating myself. Well, that's what happens when you do it in pieces. I don't mean to repeat myself. But anyway, the emergency test thing should be kind of fun. It always is. Not really fun, but good to get out and play radio and do a few things like that, and see all the guys in the group. And then afterwards, we all meet up for a debriefing at the sheriff's office and sit around the conference room and say what we did wrong, what we did right, and what we need to improve on. So that works out good. And we probably all go out for lunch afterwards too. But I'm going to have another busy day tomorrow because tomorrow evening got a 40th birthday party for a friend of ours. So that'll take up the evening. But it should be a good time. Lots of friends and all that. And Sunday, play radio like I always do in the morning, and got our nets that we do for the International Order of Crazies. So if you're a ham operator and you're listening to this, and it's a Sunday, if you listen on 3565, I believe, CW Morse code at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Whatever that is for your time zone. We're on there on Morse code at 9:30 Eastern time. We're on 14215 upper sideband. That's the 20-meter band on voice. And then again at 10:30 Eastern, we go to 40 meters at 7.185 megahertz lower sideband. And I usually make at least one of those. The different ones have different people in different parts of the country. The CW net, generally, it's West Virginia, Michigan, and Ohio, or where the people are from that we talk to. There's usually 3 or 4 of us, or talk to, do Morse code to and from. And then On 20 meters, that's mostly California, Texas, Florida, Ohio, Michigan, Tennessee. And then the 40 meters a little bit closer. It's kind of the eastern half of the country. We've got, sometimes we have up to 15 different people on there. So it works out nice. It's kind of a weekly thing. It's almost like a podcast, only it's a two-way conversation or a several-way conversation. And do that, and then we usually go to brunch with my folks on Sunday, barring any other plans. So, like I said, busy weekend. Back to school on Monday. Been taking college classes. I think I mentioned that. So, Monday and Wednesdays are taken up with college. Going to see about finishing up a business degree, but right now I'm taking a couple of prerequisite courses, which, kind of interesting, but not earth-shattering by any means. And I got probably another semester of prerequisites before I can get into the full business program that I want to go into, if I decide to. I'm not really in it to get the degree, in it to learn the stuff or learn more of the stuff. One of the prerequisites for business courses is an Excel course, so I'm going to see if I can test out of that one. You still got to pay for the credits. I don't think you pay quite as much, but you still end up paying for the credits if you test out. But you get the credits, and so that would save me some time. So I got to look into that, because I don't believe I would have too much trouble with Excel. But if I do, well, so what? So be it. It probably wouldn't be a bad course to take. And I had to take algebra, and I kind of wondered, I took algebra in high school, and I figured, why would I need to take algebra? And I'll tell you what, it's already come in handy for certain calculations that, I do it the hard way, and with algebra you can do it the easy way. So that works out pretty good. As I say, then the other one I'm taking is English Comp, which, like I said, my old college credits didn't transfer, so I got to take the stuff over, which is fine. Blah blah blah. I can deal with it, and I like writing, and it would be cool to get better at it. And I do plan on taking writing courses, a little more advanced ones. These are kind of touchy-feely liberal arts type stuff, and I'm pretty okay at that. And so we'll see. Actually, I'm probably going to post my essays as I go on the blog, just for gee whiz, get them out there. The first one I did was about a dog I had when I was in high school, a German Shepherd named Jake, and the story about how I got him, and some of the crazy stuff he did. And that's a pretty good one, I guess. Probably not perfect. We'll see. It hasn't been graded yet, but I did turn it in. And the next one is the next assignment, next project that we're doing is about relationships with inanimate objects. Like one of the sample ones they gave was written by one of the instructors there at the college. And for some reason, they don't call them professors there. They call them instructors. But anyway, one of the instructors at the college there wrote it, and it's in the textbook. But it's about his coffee cup, his relationship to his coffee cup. And, of course, it had a better meaning, a deeper meaning, of course. You always got to have deeper meaning in your writing, or at least for this course. And his deeper meaning was he has this plastic and what is it, brushed aluminum or stainless steel or whatever coffee cup, and he only buys fair trade coffee. And what was the other thing that he was he's not wasting paper on a new coffee cup every day. So anyway, however you feel about that, the environmentalist wacko stuff. I mean, environmentalist stuff. That's your business. I don't. He said, don't want to do too much politicky stuff. Although I do from time to time do politicky stuff. But anyway, so that's what I got to do. And the subject that I've sort of landed on is the Apple fanboys' relationship to Apple Company or Apple Incorporated. And, just the fact that a lot of the Apple fanboys, when something new comes out, they automatically have to get it. And, no matter what it is, I'm going to write about the iPad. Nobody even knew what an iPad was. Nobody even knew what it, what does this thing do? What is it capable of? Is it just a giant iPhone or what? Well, nobody really knew what it was, but all of a sudden, all these Apple fanboys had to have it. And they sold millions. Hey, more power to Apple. But, why is it that they're so compelled to buy something that they don't even know what it does? It's not been proven. It's the iPad, as I've stated before in several of my podcasts, I don't have a use for one. Yeah, they're really cool. And, yeah, I would use one if I had one, but I don't have a use for it. And I can't see spending $500 for something and then making up a use for it. For what I would use the iPad for, my Kindle will do, or my laptop will do. As far as reading books, the Kindle's it, as I talked about before. The Kindle is a purpose-built device. It's fairly cheap, and it does it perfectly. So I don't need an iPad to do it. If I want to surf the web from the easy chair, I got a laptop. I got a couple laptops. Those work perfectly good for that. They're comfortable. They sit there. You don't have to hold them up. They sort of just sit there on your lap. Actually, I've got one of those little lap desk things. But anyway, they just sit there, and it's at the right angle to see, and it just works out really, really well. So I don't need an iPad for that. To watch movies, I got a TV for that. So I'm going to watch it on the TV. I got a, 48-inch screen. Why would I want to watch it on a 10-inch screen? It's kind of cool. If you were on an airplane or something, I guess, maybe. But you're on an airplane, what I usually do is read. So I got the Kindle. That works good on an airplane. Or I listen to podcasts on my iPod. And now I got the iPod Touch. Well, I've kind of got the iPad Mini. So, like I said, I have one. It's a perfectly great device. And I'm sure there's, some practical use for them, but I, at this point, don't have that use. So, these Apple fanboys have to have it. And I am, I'm an Apple guy. I got, 3 Apple computers, several iPods, an Apple TV. I'm all for the iPod stuff, and I'm all for the Apple stuff. I stopped by Kathy's work here, and she is not here. So, harumph on that. Or unless she parked around the other way. So, I'm going to go in, and I got to drop off something to her. So, I will be back. Okay, this is Mike, back in the studio here. Just wanted to button this one up. Got home, did a few chores. I got dogs barking in the background. But anyway, I wanted to wrap this up and get it out. This has been Mike Dell's World number 184, I believe. If I'm wrong, it'll be right on the file name. So catch me later.